Hi everybody, I'm Steph from Simply Rhino and I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar, which is VRay 2.0 for Rhino in Automotive Design. Our presenter is Vassil. Vassil is a CG specialist at Chaos Group. Today's webinar will last approximately 30 minutes and we'll be looking at many of the features that VRay for Rhino has to offer. If you have any questions following the webinar, then please send us an email and we'll get back to you. I'll leave my email details and contacts in the end slide. So thank you very much to everybody. I'm going to hand over now to Vassil, and special thanks to him. Thanks very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Vassil and I'm a 3D artist at Chaos Group. With this webinar I would like to show you just how easy and fun it can be to visualize and render automotive products. It's pretty easy to render anything in VRay, but I will focus here on the automotive products. So I will be using the VRay RT, which is the secondary render engine in the VRay package. It's a fully productional render engine. Render engine is just real time, and with it you can pretty much render anything in its draft stages, whether it's in conceptual stage or in more advanced stage where it's almost ready for a prototype build-up. With VRay, you can actually do some kind of light simulation or shading simulation to see what your product, what your idea will look like even before it's built, even before you have sent files for prototyping. So that's very useful and very powerful to be able to do that. And again, I will show you how easy this can be achieved, and actually it's pretty much fun to do so. So the first thing I will do is I will start the VRay RT, our real-time render engine. So here it is, the button for the RT. The other one, the R, is for the production render. So what I've done here, I actually have a lot of materials placed on this car model, but I deliberately placed a VRay override material. Let me show you guys. The override material is actually a plain diffuse color that I've placed. The idea is to first start with the global things like the global lighting and the global positioning of the geometries before I focus on the materials. That's at least how I start building up my rendering scenes. So first I will create here the dome light. This is a VRay area light that is not like the other lights area lights because it's infinite light, infinite spherical light, or hemispherical. Now here I have the checkbox for spherical, but I can disable that, and as you can see, it has become hemispherical. Now what I can do also, I can make it invisible and place customized backplate or stage or whatever I want in the background. So let's put it back to its default. There we go. And what I will do is, guys, actually I think it's a little bit dark right now, so I want to put more light, so I will just increase the intensity. It's really easy to use this light. I can also tint a little bit the color if I think this is not exactly what I wanted. So there we go, it's a little bit bluish. You can do all sorts of things. You can change the units if you want, if you know what you're doing. So I'll stick to the defaults, guys, for now. And I want you to pay attention here. We have the VRay Express toolbar. Now this is extremely powerful place that I use quite often. We have materials, you have the diffuse materials, we have also metals, we have glass materials, we have carpet materials that are blurred or glossy. We also have different ceramics and all sorts of materials, fabrics, etc., that you can just pick and use. We also have the studio floors that can be placed anytime. So let's just click on that, and there we go. We have it. It updates immediately in my render engine. This is what I've been talking about, guys. It's extremely powerful and easy to use all the tools of VRay. Now, the coolest thing here, though, is that this studio floor has been placed as a separate layer. So at any moment I can create multiple floors and I can just switch them on and off throughout the layer manager, and this is extremely cool. Although I can also just create a different one which will replace the existing one. This is again made for your convenience. Now obviously I will stick to this one, the typical L shape, which is very useful in my current case. But the thing that I will have to do is I either have to scale the floor or I have to scale down the car, which will make it a little bit like a miniature. I prefer scaling the entire floor, so let's scale it up. Now obviously you can see that my car is starting to float, but anyway, I'll fix that later. There we go. I can continue, and so let's focus now, guys, on placing the floor correctly. There we go. Perfect. Now let's go back to my perspective viewport. And as you can see, now I have my stage and it's all ready to just start applying actual lights that I want to emphasize my model. I want to highlight my shapes, but to do so I need to just start applying the materials that I want. Now currently I will stop this rendering right now and remove the plain dome light. Let's do that. So let's get rid of this dome light. And what I can do, guys, is I can turn off the override material. So let's again start the RT. Now obviously this will have to load all the materials, but I believe it will be black now because there are no lights. There we go. The only thing that I have here, guys, is actually the self-illuminating materials for the headlights, the taillights, and so on, which I will examine later. So let's start now with first the studio light. Now what I can do is I can pick one of those. Let's click on that. There we go. But you guys can see that it's small than my actual geometry, and that's because I'm rendering a car. I'm not rendering a small object, a product design object. So I would just scale these up. That's the cool thing, that these studio setups and light setups are actual lights from VRay or geometries from within Rhino, which is really cool because that means that I can do anything that I in general could have done if I created them manually. Again, this light setup, the softbox, is a separate layer which I can turn off. There we go, or turn it back on. So it's really fun. So these are 3 area lights. I can pick any of these and just start tweaking. There we go. Now this one was 6, so let's put it back. And you can see that it's extremely easy. Now I can continue tweaking this light setup, but I want to check another one. Let's click on this one. It replaces the existing one, and this is with 4 lights. As you can see, again, I will need to scale it a little bit because obviously this is not meant for that big model. And there we go. So I can create different points of view, save them as cameras or named views, and just continue and continue. Now I pretty much set up everything here, but I will just continue with the lighting so you can pretty much understand what I mean. So I'll just select these 2, scale them down, and I'll just start placing them where I want them to be. Now again, this is extremely useful. Now the front one, I think it will be better if I increase the intensity because it's smaller than I want. There we go. Now I'm starting to get these really nice highlights, but I think that's not enough for me. I will scale it. There we go. Now this is completely different than before. And this is tweaking them. I can rename that to, let's say, option 1 and hide it and create another one. Now let's see this one what will produce for me. Oh, obviously this one is really small. Let's just place them here. There we go. Now this one is really nice. I can just create my own area light over here in addition to the existing studio setup that I had. And there we go. This one is really bright. Let's lower it, and there we go. We have a completely different light setup that is actually custom to me. I can just create an additional layer for that, save it, and I have my setup for cars, for this type of car. Now we have also another way of lighting. Let's hide that. And obviously this light, it was not in the same layer, so I'll delete it. And again, we're back to our non-lighting condition. So we also have HDRI environments. we can place soft boxes that are placed in our HDRI. So it's inside our texture. Here we go, Studio Setup 0.4. So this is producing me that kind of light. It's mapped on the same dome light that I used initially, but this time I have a map applied to it. I can use another one. There we go. Now obviously this studio is preventing from it's preventing the light coming from the entire dome light. So what I will change the studio floor to a disc, and that disc, of course, I will have to scale because it's really small. Even more. There we go. So now I have that disc that will be my floor, and I will be lighting, instead of lights with lights, I will be lighting with these really nice textures that are placed inside my dome light. And as you can see, these are pre-made, ready to use. What I can do, guys, is I can go inside the texture and I can find the best position. Obviously, maybe I don't like these highlights, or this is too much burn. So I will rotate that to, let's say, 45 degrees. And there we go. I have a completely different light setup right now. So this is quite cool. Maybe I don't like this dome light. I don't like this texture. Let's apply a different one. Now this is a completely different, just a single light there, and they're all made invisible, but I can make them visible, and there we go. You can see that these are textures that are emitting. This is image-based lighting, guys. We also have a real-life exteriors. There we go. This is a forest. It's a moody texture here. Let's rotate it a little bit more so we can see what's going on. Let's say 90 degrees. And there we go. We have some kind of beach-like sunset or sunrise. Let's place the final one so we can see it. It looks really cool, actually. So what I will do, guys, is let's click here, and let's start playing with the materials. So what I will do is I will select. Now, actually, you can use the VRay materials as a selection set. So let's get here and let's find my car paint. There we go. and I will click select all objects using this material, which is really, really cool. So what I will do, guys, is actually I will apply a glossy material which is pre-made. So let's apply the red one. There we go. Now this is a pre-made car paint material, which is really, really cool. And it's a normal material. It's not something that you can't edit later. Here is the material. And we have the reflection layer. We have the new VRay BRDF layer, which is the new VRay material. So you have inside one layer additional diffuse, reflection, refraction, and translucency, and you can stack on top of it additional layers, which is really useful. Now I have this car paint red that I just applied, so I will create the entire car with just materials that have been used are inside my library here. So let's select the rubber of my tire. It's called tires. So let's get here, select all objects using this material. There we go. And now let's find something that's more appropriate. Rubber, black. Let's see what happens. There we go. Now this is the rubber that you can apply immediately from here. Let's select the rims. Again, let's have a look at which material. Tire rims. Tire rims. Oops. Select all objects using this material. And let's apply some metal. Stainless steel. Okay, let's make them stainless steel, or no, I think they should be aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. So let's find aluminum shiny. And there we go. You can see it's really, really simple to just shade your entire scene. Let's select the floor. I don't like this whitish. We have here a lot of diffuse colors. We have completely black, and they all have these tags that match real life, real world colors. So it's they're not just random mixtures. So we apply a red one. It doesn't look that good. Maybe we should apply something more neutral. Okay, let's stick to this reddish, but it's too much for me. So I have it here as a color 1000. Let's edit this. So let's desaturate it a little bit and make it a little bit brighter. There we go. So all the materials and all the lights that I just showed you guys, you can edit them at any moment, at any time. They're not like locked. They're really, really easy to manipulate and use. And at any moment that you're done with the rendering, you're in, the noise has been cleared up. You can just save that image. So you can save directly from the RT. You don't need to do anything special. That's just about anything that you have to do in order to render with VRay. Okay, so obviously what I can do is I can select my dome light, guys, and let's just place it over here. Remember, the position and the rotation and the size of the dome light is irrelevant to the actual thing that you're rendering and you're seeing, because the only thing that matters is that it has to be present in the scene, and it has to have a texture that you rotate, otherwise it doesn't matter. So since this is I just moved it so I can see better here, what I can do, guys, is I can select that. Let's hide it. Let's select that as well, and let's have a look of my interior. As you can see, with just one setup, I'm rendering my interior as well. Please excuse me that I'm coughing from occasionally. But I can, I can create an area light just for that reason, to light the interior. Okay, so that's of course too much. Let's lower it. Still too much maybe. And there we go. So of course this is invisible, and I can do it only for this shot. For the other shots I can stick to only the dome light. Now as you can see, it's a little bit difficult to render with this focal length. I can go inside my camera parameters, and what I can do is I can make my lens wider. So let's put it to 34. There we go. Now I'm seeing more of my interior. I can make it almost like a fisheye. Okay, so let's just stick to something more normal, and that's really useful. But what you're seeing here in the mirror is actually the light that's visible. I can turn off this light from affecting the reflections, so some of the reflections will lose the highlights of my area light. Here the mirror is actually reflecting from the environment, but anyway, you can use that for any light that you choose to do so. Okay guys, so let's do another exercise here. So let's get rid of that, and actually let's turn off these, and okay, and let's show everything. There we go. Now what I want to do, guys, is I want to just stick to that, and I want to enable an HDRI light system again. This time I will do that manually, guys, because I want to do something different. So let's hit the RT again. Let's wait a little bit. There we go. And let's create a dome light. It's ready. Dome light. And now let's select that dome light, and what I want to do, guys, is I want to place my own HDRI here. So I'll just click on bitmap, concept car, and I'll just choose one of these. Which one do I choose? Okay, let's choose this one. Now remember, just place it to environment and stick to spherical. And there we go. Now obviously this HDRI is a little bit strange, guys. I know it's but it just somewhere nearby that I took picture of it. So let's rotate it to a more pleasant looking. Let's rotate it to 180 degrees, for example. Now that's, I think, better than before. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to make that dome light invisible, because I don't need to see what's there. I just needed to light my car and emit reflections. So what I can do is, oops, not here, guys. I can open my options, and in the environment channels, the global environment, I can place a background, a custom background. So I did so, and just enable it. There we go. It's the same place, just a little bit different rotation. Now here, obviously, the ratio of the rendering is different, so I would just have to stop the rendering and adjust the output. So let's put 600 here, and let's give it a try. Because you can see the circle is not circle right now. Oops, wrong camera, guys. Let's select that one. There we go. Now that's much better. This is a circle, And let's continue. I just want to do something that, let's say you are creating the car, but you want to change what's in the background. You want to have some more compositing opportunities and options. You want to change the color of the car. You want to change maybe the amount of shadows that you have uh, on the background. So the alpha obviously would help, but not right now because we have that disk here. So from now on, I will switch to the production because it's necessary, guys. Now what I have to do is let's select the disk, and what I will do, guys, is I will apply this material with just a diffuse color, but the same texture that I applied on the background. And remember, in both cases, it's applied in screen mode. Again, I switched to environment, but instead of the default spherical, I switched to screen. Why? Because I want that image to be projected frontally in front of me every time. So guys, let's just apply that to the disk, apply to the material to the selection, and let's hit render. This time I said I'll be using the production render, not the RT, because this is some of the few things that the RT still cannot replicate. And there we go. It's merging the disk with the background. I think maybe I need to increase the intensity of my dome light, maybe a little bit. Let's place it to 2. And so in order to, maybe I need also to change a little bit my camera settings, maybe 35 millimeters, because it's a bit fisheye-ish. So what I want to do now, guys, I want proper alpha. You see, I don't have the proper alpha. I want to get my proper alpha to place my car to be there and be able to do that. So what I need to do, guys, is select again this material, but instead of that, I will need to create a wrapper material. Here it is. I call it properties because it adds properties to the geometry or geometries that it's applied to. So let's apply the material to the selection, but this is just properties. There is no actual material, so I need to place the material, the actual material over here. So let's ground HDRI and let's render. Now, as you can see, nothing changed actually because I just applied properties, but I did not alter any settings. So let's keep that. And again, let's go to my properties. And what I have to do is I have to tell these properties that this geometry needs to be made, needs to catch the shadows and affect the alpha. From here, I will state how it affects the alpha, and I will, from 1, I will place -1, which basically means that it will cut the alpha and everything that interacts with it. So let's render it. And there we go. As you can see, I have seamless background, I have shadows, and my alpha is seeing the shadows. So I can change the backplate later, and this will give me the ability to change and alter my entire look and feel of the car based on my render elements. I can create a render element for my body to change the car paint, for my wheels, my rims, just about everything. And this will help me adjust the image after I have done the rendering. So this is really, really cool to use. So guys, this is that's from me for now. Thank you for watching and listening, and see you next time. Bye, guys.
Great, thank you, Vassil. That was brilliant. I hope everyone enjoyed that. If anyone has any questions, then you can see on this end slide that I've supplied you with my email address, steph@simplyrhino.co.uk. Please email me, I'll be happy to get back to you. And hopefully we'll see you in the future for another webinar. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, also that's where we post any webinars that we've done, and obviously we'll be adding new ones there in the future. And of course, if you'd like any more information about VRay for Rhino or Rhino and its many plugins, then feel free to visit our website, and there's lots of information on there, and you can see that website address on this slide. So that's all from me. Just a big thank you to Vassil and Chaos Group, and hopefully see you all in the future. Cheers. Thanks. Bye bye.